The room was tense, the kind of tension you could almost feel pressing down on every shoulder. Senators, aides, and reporters alike had gathered for what was supposed to be a routine debate, but the air smelled of something far more volatile: anticipation. At the center of the storm stood John Kennedy, known for his razor-sharp wit and unapologetic honesty, a man who could slice through political doublespeak like a surgeon with a scalpel. Across from him was Liz Cheney, a figure both respected and feared for her dogged political stances, yet today, something in the room suggested that respect might be about to fracture. Kennedy began speaking, his voice calm, measured, almost deceptively soft. "Madam Cheney," he said, "I think the American people deserve consistency from those they elect. And yet, sometimes, consistency seems inconvenient, doesn't it?" The words, though simple, carried an unspoken weight, and the room went quiet. Every reporter leaned forward instinctively, sensing a moment about to unfold. Kennedy didn't raise his voice, but his eyes, sharp and unyielding, seemed to cut right through the carefully constructed veneer Cheney had perfected over years in the political arena. What happened next was less a debate and more a reckoning. Kennedy began to trace a series of contradictions in Cheney's statements, instances where her words had promised one thing while her votes revealed another. He spoke of loyalty and principle, of how public service demanded courage, even when it was inconvenient. "You've called others arrogant," Kennedy said, his tone icy yet controlled, "yet sometimes arrogance is not a flaw, but a mirror reflecting the inconsistencies in our own actions. And in that mirror, Madam Cheney, I think you see yourself." There was a pause, almost imperceptible, but it was enough to let the weight of his words settle. Cheney's composure faltered. The confident posture, the polished responses, began to crack as Kennedy pressed further. Each example he presented was carefully documented, each instance undeniable. He spoke of the principles Cheney claimed to uphold and contrasted them with moments where political expedience had dictated her actions. Kennedy's approach was meticulous but devastating. He didn't shout, he didn't attack personally, he simply held up a mirror of truth, and the reflection was unbearable. For the first time, the arrogance that had so often served Cheney as armor seemed to betray her, leaving her vulnerable, exposed, almost human. The room was silent now, save for the quiet scratch of pens on paper and the occasional rustle of notes. Reporters felt history happening, the kind that isn't captured in headlines immediately but lingers in memory long after. Kennedy leaned slightly forward, his gaze steady. "We can debate policies," he said, voice low, "we can argue about strategy. But we cannot, in good conscience, debate integrity. That is non-negotiable." Every word was deliberate, weighted with the GR.